This by far is going to be one of the best training videos ever to help you finally lose body fat without dieting. No more cutting out your carbs, no more cutting out alcohol, cutting out sugar, anything like that, because I'm going to teach you the basics. I'm going to teach you what works best for your body type when it comes to understanding everything that you need to know about calories and macros to lose fat. Now, does this sound like you? You tried cutting out your carbs, you tried cutting out all processed foods, you tried cutting out alcohol, maybe you tried paleo or keto or maybe a carnivore diet or maybe even intermittent fasting, maybe Weight Watchers, Noom, detoxes, supplements, the list goes on and on and on. And you feel like this guy right here. You feel so confused because you tried it all, but yet you haven't had any success. Sure, you might lose the first 5, 10, 15 pounds, but eventually you hit a stall. Or, hey, life throws you some curveballs, you get stressed out, you get those, cravings where it's like you want those sweets again, and you fall off track. And then the next thing you know, you regain all that weight right back. Well, make sure to pay close attention because in this training video, like I said, I'm going to teach you what is going to work best for your body type when it comes to losing fat without dieting by teaching you the basics of calories and macros. I have tried literally every diet under the sun. And guess what? None of them have worked long term. They're just not sustainable. You're forced to cut out your favorite foods. They're very restricted. You have to eat low calories. They're just not flexible for anybody's lifestyle, especially myself. That's why I don't do any diets, and that's why I don't coach and teach people to follow a diet. I coach and teach people on what works best for their body type. So that way they have all the knowledge, all the skills on how to have long-term success, and most importantly, learning how to fit in their favorite foods. Now, I've been certified in nutrition since 2017. I'm a certified personal trainer, certified sports nutritionist, and certified in strength and conditioning. My name is Coach Joe. I'm the CEO and head coach of Heartletics. And since 2017, I've been helping thousands of guys reach their health and fitness goals by teaching them, once again, what works best for their body types. Everything that I'm going to teach you in today's training video is exactly what has helped Chris lose over 25 pounds in 90 days. This also helped Greg lose 30 pounds in 90 days and get off his blood pressure medications. And it even helped Santo lose over 50 pounds in 90 days without cutting out any of his favorite foods. He was still able to have his burgers, his pizza, his cookies, the ice cream, and even alcohol, and still lost 50 pounds in 90 days. So let's dive in and get started. If you ever notice on the back of, let's say, anything that you buy at the grocery store, right, there's a nutritional fact label. And on top of it, you're going to see calories at the very top. But then below it, you're going to see, these different fats, carbohydrates, proteins, and all these different grams. Well, in today's video, I'm going to teach you how it all applies to your body type so that way you learn the best calories and macros when it comes to losing fat for your body type. And in case you may be feeling a little bit confused when you hear the word macros, don't be at all. Trust me, it's just short for macronutrients. And all the grams that's on the bottom of the nutritional fact label that equal the calories, that's exactly what they are. It's the macronutrients. This is your proteins, your carbohydrates, your fats, and also your alcohols. And as you can see from this image right here, that 1 gram of protein is equal to 4 calories. 1 gram of carbohydrates is also equal to 4 calories. But 1 gram of fat is equal to 9 calories. And then 1 gram of alcohol is equal to 7 calories. So now you can see that once you understand all these grams equal these numbers, gives you the total calories. Now this is very important to understand. It's the thermic effect of food. And all this means is how much energy is required when it comes to breaking down those macronutrients after eating them. So as you can see here, fats, pretty low. You're only utilizing anywhere from about 3 to 5% energy. Carbohydrates, 6 to 8% energy. But protein is 25 to 35% energy just from eating it. So all this typically means is the more protein that you're eating, since it's higher up on the thermic effect of food, the more calories, right, and energy that you're going to be utilizing and burning. So guess what? The more protein, the more fat loss that you're going to be having. Now, in order to actually lose body fat, you need to be in a calorie deficit. Okay? If you're overeating, you're not going to lose any weight. And guess what? If you're undereating, like way below a calorie deficit, yeah, you're going to be losing muscle, and that's not good at all. That's going to slow down your metabolic rate. That's why I'm not a fan of low-calorie diets or even intermittent fasting, because if you're not tracking your macros, it can be very easy for somebody to be undereating and losing muscle mass, and that's not what you want to do, because once again, it's going to slow down your metabolism and it's going to drop your testosterone levels. So to figure out what is a good, healthy calorie deficit to be in, use this calculation right here. Take your goal weight. Okay. And then based on your, activity, this is where you want to multiply your goal weight by either 10, 11, or 12. So if you're somebody that's very sedentary, you have a desk job, you come home from work and you sit down on the couch, right? You don't really work out at all, you're sedentary. You want to take your goal weight, and for this analogy, let's just say, you're 210 pounds and you want to get down to 185 pounds. So you would take your goal weight and multiply it by 10. Now, if let's just say you work out here and there a few times a week, you're moderately active. You would take your goal weight and multiply it by 11. And if let's just say you have an active job and you're working out, maybe more than 4 times a week, you're somebody that's pretty active, and I would multiply your goal weight by 12. So now that you understand that, that's your calories that you should be in when it comes to losing body fat. But you also need to figure out what is the right macronutrients. And this, my friends, is probably the best formula to use. Okay. Now, the bare minimum of protein that you should be having, because once again, you don't want to lose any muscle. You need to make sure you're eating plenty of protein so you're not slowing down your metabolism. The bare minimum is taking your body weight and multiplying it by 0.8. And the maximum is taking your body weight and multiplying it by 1.5. You don't need to eat anything more than that when it comes to protein. But once again, the bare minimum, take your body weight and multiply it by 0.8. But the easiest calculation is just by taking your body weight, right, and multiplying it by 1. So once again, if you're 200 and let's just say 10 pounds, you would just have 210 grams of protein. It's that simple, okay? Now, next up is figuring out the fats. And this is anywhere from 20 to 30% of your daily calories, okay? And as you can see from the calculation is all we're doing is pretty much just taking our calories, right? And we're multiplying it by anywhere from 20 to 30%. And for the example below, I multiplied it by 25%. And then the next, you want to fill in with carbohydrates. Guys, this may seem complicated, but it's really not. And I'm going to go over a little cheat sheet for you here at the very end of this video. So make sure to pay close attention to when we get to there. But looking back at this analogy down below, you can once again see that if I started off at 210 pounds and I want to get down to 185, all I'm doing is taking 185, my goal weight, and I'm multiplying it by 11 because I'm moderately active, and it's going to give me my calories. And then from there, hey, I want to make sure to figure out my protein. So 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, 210 times 1, 210 grams of protein. And then my calories, multiplying that by anywhere from 20 to 30%. All I did was go in the middle, 25%. That's going to give me 508 calories. But if you remember, 1 gram of fat is equal to 9 calories. So divide that by 9. This is going to give me my grams, right? Just like how this is my total grams of protein, 210. This is going to be my grams of fat. So now that I know this information, right, it's very easy in basic math, okay? So your protein calories is 840. How did I get that? Well, 1 gram of protein is equal to 4 calories. My protein goal is right here, multiply by 4, 840. My fats, already figured out, 508, right, calories coming from fats. So all I'm going to do is just add these two numbers together, and I'm getting 1,348 calories. And then I just need to subtract that from my total, which is my overall calorie deficit that I need to be in, 2,035 calories. Once I do that, it's going to give me this, number right here, 687. Divide that by 4, because once again, 1 gram, I'm trying to figure out my carbs here, which is the last part. 1 gram of carbohydrate is equal to 4 calories. So I'm taking 687 divided by 4, and I'm getting 171 grams of carbs. Once again, this may seem confusing or complicated, but it's basic math. And the best part is that you didn't hear me say, hey, avoid the sugar, avoid the alcohol, or anything like that. Once you understand the calories and the macros for your body type, all you have to do is apply the 80-20 rule, right? And this is what we specialize inside of our coaching program when it comes to helping our members learn the flexibility of learning how to fit in their favorite foods, hitting their macro goals with ease. That way they're still having the pizza, the bourbon, right? The donuts, the ice cream, the beer, and they're still dropping body fat week after week. Now you may be thinking to yourself, Joe, this sounds so confusing and so complicated. I should just go back to cutting out carbohydrates, not eating sugar. But once again, you're just throwing spaghetti up on the wall, hoping and praying something sticks. And you don't actually know if you're losing body fat or if you're losing muscle, or you're cutting out your carbohydrates and you're losing your glycogen, aka water weight. If you don't believe me, what happens if you take your phone and drop it into a pool, right? Drop it into the ocean. You want to take your phone, put it into a bowl of rice so that way the water can be extracted out of the phone so it can start working again. Well, guess what? What do you think is going to happen if you don't eat the rice, if you don't eat the breads, if you don't eat the sugars, right? If you don't eat any of the carbohydrates, you're going to lose glycogen within the body. So the number on the scale dropping is not actually body fat. It's just water weight. Losing weight and losing fat, two separate things. You can lose muscle, you can lose fat, you can lose water weight, right? That's all losing weight. But losing body fat is only losing body fat. And that's what you want to make sure that you focus on, especially if you want to live a healthy, long lifestyle. Now, the importance of tracking your macros is pretty simple. One, it brings awareness. You actually know how much you're eating. And second, you get so much flexibility. It's basic math, like I said. And, there's an easy way to track your macros and a hard way to track your macros. I'll talk about that here in a little bit, give you a little cheat sheet. But when it comes down to this, it's basic math. And you can understand that, tracking your macros can really give you a sense of peace and understanding of learning how to have a healthy relationship with food. See, if you're thinking that carbs are the enemy or sugar is bad for you by any means, it's just calories, And once you're tracking your macros and you're understanding how to hit your numbers, I bet you anything, it's going to break so many self-limiting beliefs inside your own head when you're able to eat donuts, drink alcohol, eat carbohydrates, and you're still losing body fat week after week. Simply because you're tracking your macros. You're staying within your calorie deficit. And it's that simple, my friends. It's so simple that is exactly what led to Brian losing over 85 pounds and getting six-pack abs in 6 months. It's so simple that it also helped Mark lose over 90 pounds in 6 months. It is so simple that it even helped John lose over 150 pounds in 6 months. And once again, I've been helping thousands of guys lose body fat, build lean muscle since 2017. And it's been the same thing that I've been coaching and teaching them that I bet you anything it will work for you as well. As soon as you just start tracking your macros, you're hitting your calories, focusing on eating plenty of protein, applying the 80-20 principle so that way you can still have your fun favorite foods and fit them in with ease, you're going to be dropping pounds like that. And who knows, maybe you're scared of carbohydrates because you're a type 2 diabetic and you're like, oh, Joe, I can't have carbohydrates. I'm going to spike my insulin. Well, guess what? I've literally helped hundreds of guys, not only reversing their type 2 diabetes, but getting off their blood pressure medications, their high cholesterol medications, by teaching them the same calories and macros on what works best for their body type and how to apply it to their own lifestyle so that way they're constantly losing weight week after week and getting off their medications. It's not hard, guys, by any means. You don't need to be a rocket scientist to track your macros. You just got to make sure that you do it. And as anything that you do when it's brand new, it might seem a little hard, just like riding a bike. You might fall down a few times, but sure enough, hey, brush off the dust, get right back on track. You're going to get the hang of it. Just like the same thing with tracking your macros. Once you get it down, it's very, very simple and easy to do. Now, when it comes down to tracking macros, there's a few different things that you can do. For starters, you can guesstimate, right? You can just manually write down how many calories you're eating on a piece of paper. And once again, try to, weigh things out on a scale and guesstimate things. I think that's very hard, right? And plus, it's the same thing as throwing spaghetti up on the wall, hoping and praying something sticks, right? It doesn't actually give you the goals. It's not the roadmap. It's not the GPS, so to speak, Imagine driving across country, taking a road trip, and you don't have a map or a GPS. You might not actually reach your end destination. That's just the truth of it. When it comes down to tracking your macros, you're actually following through with the plan. You're actually going somewhere that's leading you to exactly pinpointing the location of where you're trying to get to. That's the purpose of it. Now, another way that you can track your macros is maybe using an Excel spreadsheet and once again, putting all that in there, and it's just a lot of legwork. It's tedious, or you can just download and use an app. Now, our members just use our app, the Heartletics training app. And it's simply because this is how we coach and we educate our members, right? We give them the calories and macros that work best for their body type. And not only that, is that when we go over our personalized weekly assessments with them, based on if they ever hit a stall or a plateau, or they're ever kind of overeating or missing out on hitting their protein targets, we're able to educate them and we're able to go through their body stats with them, everything, not even just the workouts and, the macros, but literally everything, right? Their lifestyle, their sleep, their hydration, everything, to just ensure that our members get nothing but the best success inside of our coaching program. And once again, we make it so easy for them because on our app, there's literally thousands of different recipes to choose from where if you don't feel like cooking or, making food, you can just scan through our app. And we literally have also hundreds of different sit-down restaurants where it takes out all the guesswork. Our job is to coach, once again, and teach and educate somebody. That way they have all the tools and success on how to have long-term, just progress with their own health and fitness journey. Think about it like this. I'm sure you heard this phrase. You can give a man a fish and feed him for a day, or you can teach a man how to fish and feed him for the rest of his life. Well, that's what we do. Just like how back in the day you had to learn how to drive a car. Well, if you think about it, you had a driving instructor sitting in your passenger seat teaching you how to drive a car, the maneuverability, everything like that. But as soon as you got your license, you don't need that driving instructor anymore. Why? Because you have all the knowledge. You know how to drive in different states. You know how to drive in different weather conditions, right? Well, just imagine if you learn how to eat, but also work out and exercise properly for your body type. You're going to have long-term success, whether you're traveling, whether you're training over here, whether you're working at a gym or not, whether you're just doing stuff at home, and still understanding when you're going out to eat, different restaurants, how to fit in your favorite foods. It's knowledge, just like driving a car, right? You can give a man a fish, feed him for a day. Hey, that's a Band-Aid to the gunshot wound. That's called following a diet. Or you can teach a man how to fish and feed him for the rest of his life. That's called having sustainable success long term. Now, your next steps is pretty simple. There is a short application form right below this video. And if you're somebody that has been trying several different diets, you haven't lost any weight, and all this macros and calories is confusing you, and you literally want somebody to just take out all the guesswork for you, kind of like what we do for our coaching members, and you actually want to have guaranteed success at reaching your health and fitness goals once and for all you have to do is just fill out the short application form right below this video. That's it. I'll scan over the form. I'll see if you're a good fit for our coaching program. If you are, hey, I'll reach out to you and we'll go over the next steps from there.